Okay. Hey guys, welcome back to the Looking Glass podcast. I'm your host, Pepsi Man, also known as Calvin. I'm here with Jai.
Hello, also known as Skeletor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and then I'm here with the one and only unpronounceable username, Lenny. Could you please pronounce it to the people who can't say it?
I don't remember what it was.
Are you, Are you serious?
That retake.
No, 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 no. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
that's fine.
I remember.
Anyway, so today we're going to talk about certain topics about games and other pop culture, and we all give our different takes and viewpoints about them, and also give our different opinions about it, and shouldn't be improved on. Okay, so first topic of the episode is the PS4 final phase. Now, as of recent, I think earlier this year in May, Sony announced that the PlayStation 4 is on its final phase of its lifespan. What do you guys think when you hear the word final phase attached to a console? And of course, what do you like? Do you think it's too soon, or do you think it's the right time?
Yeah, I think it's way too soon, especially with like like the lifespan of the 360 and the PS3 was considerably longer in comparison, and even that was like a bit short. But like if you compare the prices of the 360 with the Xbox One, for example, then it's like it's getting with the lifespan getting shorter. So it's like as it gets faster and faster, the price also goes up and up. So it's just getting harder for some people to keep up with new generations, and then they can't, play new games or, stuff like that. So I think it's not a great thing, but it's not unexpected. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What about you, Jay? What are your thoughts about it?
To me, I gotta say, I agree with Lenny that I'm not surprised by it, but I really don't think it's that smart considering the fact that especially the launch of both the PS4 and the Xbox One was like pretty shit. There was
Yeah,
a
exactly.
very lacking department in exclusives, and not only that, but like if you look at it, compare the libraries for like the PS3 and the Xbox 360 to the library for the Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah.
Like it's there's such a massive gap in the actual quantity, and not only that, but the quantity of good games, not just like uploaded.
Sorry, could you repeat that, Jai? You seem to be cutting off.
Oh fuck! I was saying that basically there's a huge like gap between the quantity of good games that would be on like say the Xbox 360 or PS3 store compared to the Xbox One and PS4 store.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a larger collection and such a wider pool of good games. Whereas if you go to the friggin' PS4 store, how many exclusives and all that, and not even just exclusives, but even like newer games that have been released, can you say were actually like smash hits that were like really good?
Well, not much really. I do agree with you on that one. Like, I do agree that like it's too soon. However, like in a sense, I think it is kind of the right time though, because like it kind of has like every console generation has its lifespan. Like, I think the last console generation we had, Xbox came out, and we had about like I think around 6 to 5 years. Yeah, no, yeah, 6 or 5 years of the console generation, and I feel like that's gonna happen again. That's happened before the PlayStation 2, because keep in mind, the PlayStation 2 was released in 2000, and so the next one came out, PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, and they came out around 2005 and 2006. Here, the Xbox and the
Nah,
PS.
I don't. That doesn't sound right, man. From memory, they came out later than 2005. Because I would have known, because that's
360
when I was
came out
gaming, man.
came out first.
Yeah, Xbox
Yeah, the
360.
PS3 came out a lot later.
PS3 came out a few years
Yeah,
later.
they're saying
Yeah.
Xbox 360 came out 2005, and the PS3 came out 2006, and then after that, and then now because the Xbox One and the PlayStation One were released in the same year, I feel like in a sense it's a perfect time, but at the same time I feel like that I kind of agree with you to a degree. Like there's not a lot of games that were given in, like a lot more, like the library of the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were good, but they're not. How do I say this? Large as compared to the previous console generations. I feel like there was a lot more than it should be, provided.
Yeah, well, if I compare the amount of Xbox 360 games I own compared to the amount of Xbox One games I own that I actually play, there is a massive gap. Like, I can go and grab over 50 something games that I've got physically on disc in my wardrobe compared to like maybe 20, 15 that I've got physically on disc in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I think it's really lacking, and especially like I said earlier, the launches were just garbage, and for so long they weren't even publishing much compared to like when we actually had the 360 and the PS3 first come out. There was a ton of games that were being released on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like that even though it's had in the terms of years, it's had a long run. There hasn't been a massive amount of content that's actually been produced for it.
Mm-hmm. I see your point. Now, with the announcement
Yeah.
of the final phase of the PlayStation 4, um, what do you like? They've all like Sony has also announced that the PlayStation 5 is coming. When do you think it
Mm.
would be arriving? Do you think it would come in late next year, or like would you think it would just be announced and come in the year after? When do you think?
For me,
Well,
I
I
think.
think the announcement said what 2020. I think it was set to arrive,
Hmm.
but it's kind of it's stupid because they just released stuff like the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and it's just like those were basically new consoles as it was,
Well, see,
4K
I think that's why they're
stuff like
doing it
that.
though, because the Xbox One X, like, or the Scorpio, whatever they call it, was like, I think that's what they're trying to compete with.
They
So I
are.
don't even know if it's
Yeah, but
necessarily
that's
going
what
to
the
be
Pro
like a
was.
complete
That's what
shift.
that's what the Pro was competing with. But now they're like, yeah, screw all that. We're gonna move on to a whole new generation for
Yeah,
no
but the
reason.
Pro wasn't the Pro same level of the Xbox One X.
Yeah. They're both. They're
But it
basic.
was in
I
competition.
don't think they're gonna completely move to the next generation yet, because how do I say it? I think game companies are still, how do I say it, quite focused on making PS4 and Xbox One titles.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna be
Yeah.
honest with you here. Like consoles. Like when we mention about next gen, we always focus about the graphics and all that crap. Yeah. I feel like
Mm.
consoles are trying to reach to at least PC level, and from the looks of it, they kind of have, but not to an
Mm.
extent to which you'd say, oh, it's like to what they expect. Like when let's say a PC player were to play, I don't know, The Witcher 3 and the PC compared to the
Mm.
PlayStation 4. I feel like, and this is from my experience, I feel like from the looks of it, the PS4 is like more of a downgrade, obviously. But the thing is, I feel like the reason why the X and the I think PlayStation Score and the PlayStation Pro. I was gonna say PlayStation Scorpio. What the hell? Yeah, the PlayStation
Mm.
Pro. They were trying to at least not only compete each other but also at least meet up to the PC market. And this is
Mm.
this is how I feel about the PlayStation 5. I feel like it won't come in next year. It'll come in around. It'll be announced next year, but I feel like it's gonna come around perhaps maybe late 2020, early 2020, and perhaps
Mm.
maybe if not around early 2021. Because I feel like one, they've been on development for so long, and two, I feel like they're trying to at least reach to the level to which PC gamers could at least see as the PlayStation as a worthy opponent. That's what I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you, but to some extent, I have to think that. Well, sorry, that I do think that I don't think they're going to try to push for it too hard, because especially with a lot of the new titles released, such as stuff like Red Dead 2, like especially with Red Dead 2 Online,
Yeah.
like PS4 and like Xbox One, I guarantee that they'd be pushing in a lot more sales and a lot more, PS Plus purchases. And I don't really think that they're going to immediately try to push for that PS5,
Yeah.
especially knowing how many companies that have made new games would just be like, "Hey, what the fuck? Now no one's playing any of my stuff."
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
like but like I said, I feel like it's gonna come in like not next year, obviously. Perhaps maybe like early of the next decade.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I'm right.
Yeah. What about you, Lenny? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think generally on this subject, I can say that everyone who considers graphics in a game like the be all and end all of their enjoyment with the game, it's just kind of like, I don't know, like to me that's just a bit like thin. There's so much more in a game to enjoy than just graphics, and as long as graphics are like decent, not crap, but you know, workable,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, as long as it
that's
actually
fine by
looks
me.
aesthetically pleasing. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
This
So.
new console, the way it works is they force it on you. You can't avoid it. Like
Mhm.
for example, with when the Xbox One and PS4 came in, it was like, okay, well you can still get games on the last gen consoles, but then after a while they were like, yeah, no more. You have to get the new console if you want new games. So they kind of So it's like you do have to get it and you do have to upgrade at some point,
Mhm.
but it is just kind of like it's not worth it for any other reason for me, and it's just like it just
Well, not
feels
only
too
that, but
soon.
also you missed out on a shit ton of content when you chose the older editions. Like if you
Yeah,
saw games
sometimes, yeah.
like not just like Watch Dogs, but like even GTA 5, there was a ton of stuff that was just like super lacking on the previous generations compared to what they released in the new one.
Yep. I
Well,
see.
not new one, the next, like this gen or whatever.
Yep. The current gen.
Yeah.
Yep. So moving on. I'd like to talk about Fallout 76. Now, with regards to Fallout 76, we've heard about hype from Bethesda. There's been hype around it with that putting Country Road with John Denver's song with inside of it, and after that all the marketing and promotional tools and all that crap. And as of recent, I've been hearing mixed views, both good and or bad, but mostly of negative views. Now, what do you guys think about Fallout 76? Because to be honest with you, I've never I personally haven't played it, and yet I just want to know what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't played it, but I'm a massive Fallout fan. I love Fallout, but this is just such a different direction that I
Mhm.
wasn't expecting. Even like leading up to the release when they were revealing everything, I
Mhm.
still thought like, okay, it's just an online Fallout game with little extra features, but no, it's completely changed, and it just kind of from all the stuff I've seen, all the gameplay and all the reviews and stuff like that, it
Mhm.
just kind of seems like, especially playing single player, it would just get boring and like with no NPCs, dialogues or stuff like that, no real proper quests. It's sort of I I kind of compare it to like something like Rust or DayZ, where it's like you got to make your own story, you got to build your own base,
Yeah.
get your own survivors,
Mhm.
go on raids, stuff like that. And I mean, that's not really the sort of game for me. I can see that people would definitely like that sort of game. Um, but yeah, I think most people would give it negative reviews because they want to play it single player because it's a Fallout game, you know?
Mhm.
Well, I think the other issue is that even though it's supposed to be a game kind of like Rust and all that, it doesn't do it well. It's trying too hard to be a bit of both. And not only that, but like the fact that the gameplay wise, there's a lot of bugs and glitches that don't help when you're trying to have a really good experience and you see a bunch of people fucking T-posing flying around,
Yeah.
like, enemies and all that shit. It
Mhm.
just kind of ruins the enjoyment of the game because, like, I've seen a lot of people that have just said that they've had parts where it's unplayable. Or even another thing I saw was that some people who had ultra wide monitors, there was no support for the game yet.
Mhm.
So like you couldn't actually use that monitor. You could not play it if you had that monitor.
Yeah.
I'll just wait until they finally patched it in. So the
I mean,
main
that's
thing that
Bethesda
annoys
though,
me,
isn't it?
yeah, I know, but that's the thing. That shouldn't be an excuse because it's Bethesda, and that's why I think they've
Yeah,
gotten
but
away with
like
it for so long.
I'm saying, like this is a multiplayer game that they haven't really done before, and they're known for glitches as it is. Of course, it's going to be way worse than this one.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it okay, does it?
Yeah.
If anything, it's the opposite. Like we shouldn't have to expect this stuff to happen. They should release a properly finished product, and that's the main reason why I get annoyed is because Bethesda has a tendency to lie and exaggerate and falsify stuff. Like look at someone like Peter Molyneux in the industry who did the same stuff. No. Hear me out. Hear me out.
Yeah.
Who, what's it called? For a lot of what he said,
It's
he
overhyped.
was getting he overhyped stuff, but primarily not because he was trying to just be like, oh, buy my game, but because he really did have a pretty big vision. He actually wanted to make something that could do all that, and it ended up working.
Yeah.
Whereas Bethesda, like for one example, someone actually, I think it was Kotaku, sent out a tweet talking about Fallout 76 before it was revealed, saying that it was going to be like sort of like a Rust-like game or whatever. And then I think it was one of Bethesda's head like devs or something like retweeted it saying, oh, basically trying to make it out like that wasn't the case, and that, oh no, that they are kind of lying and this is actually what we're going to do, talking about saying that they'd reveal that on the they had like the release video thing that they were doing or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Well.
And so
Yeah.
it's
Sorry.
just frustrating because throughout the entire process they keep deceiving fans. Like that's the main thing that pisses me off. Like just tell the truth. Like the game was half-assed with assets borrowed almost entirely from Fallout 4.
Mhm.
The Scorch Beast are literally just the dragons ripped straight out of Skyrim. Like the game is not unique. You just made it a hollow shell. Like most of the bugs that are in Fallout 76 were bugs that were in Fallout 4 when it was first launched, and like those have been since fixed for ages. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah. Well, from the looks of it, like I've seen a few game like buggy bugs and all that. Like you know them like what you call Fallout 76 bugs and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like them videos. I've been watching a lot of those, and also normal Fallout 76 gameplay. And to be honest with you, I feel like it's empty. It's so
Yeah, it's
lifeless.
hollow.
It's really lifeless in a sense. Like, how do I say this? I feel like a multiplayer game for Fallout 76, I don't feel like it's suitable for that. If they're trying to get at
Yeah.
least like a World of Warcraft vision towards it, I don't think it's gonna work out. If it's a Rust sort of version of it, no. I don't feel like
Yeah.
first of all, I don't feel like Fallout is the type of game that should be played with people. It's more of a game that you should experience by yourself. You can disagree with me in this one, like
Or at the most, like just like a couple people in co-op.
yeah, like it's fine to have like people in co-op, at least one or two, but like the thing is, if it's multiplayer like, PvP and all that, I feel like no. The like I feel like that's Bethesda's weak point in creating a game like based on a current existing IP and then making it into a multiplayer game because how do I say this? Bethesda's multiplayer game rap isn't, pretty good. I'd say Elder Scrolls Online wasn't the best. It's
Especially on launch, it
Yeah.
was bad.
That
Yeah.
wasn't technically that wasn't Bethesda though. They didn't develop that.
Yeah, but still, like, even though they didn't develop it, in a sense, I felt like it's it's like it's not the best. It's just a generic, MMO. It's basically World of Warcraft, but with Skyrim like assets from fucking Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, pretty much. Yeah, and 76, I feel like it's not. It's to me, it was promising, but it's not at the point. Like it's a game that
Yeah.
shouldn't be a game that shouldn't exist, a game that shouldn't be made.
Well, to me, how to say it, the concept of it, I thought was still a good idea. I thought a multiplayer Fallout could have been something that they could have made like really interesting. But
Yeah.
instead, since they made it so that there was no story whatsoever,
Yeah.
besides like these really crap quests, there's not even any NPCs besides like robot vendors.
Mhm.
Like it's just lacking. You have to make the fun yourself. Like if you're not playing with friends, it's almost like boring and soulless the entire way through.
Yeah.
It's like really hollow. It's like imagine one of the earlier open world games where they had these massive open worlds and they claimed, oh, the graphics are so amazing, and you go around the place and like how many buildings could you actually enter or how many things could you actually interact with?
Yeah.
Like nothing. And that's the same with Fallout 76. Like even the whole main selling point that they were kind of dropping at one stage was like the nuclear armaments and all that, where you could like bomb things and all that. Like it doesn't really change much.
Mhm.
Like it's really really monotonous. You
Yeah.
do the same thing over and over again,
Yeah. Pretty much.
just reskinned.
Mhm. Yeah. It's basically No Man's Sky, like when it was first launched. Pretty much, it's empty. But then I feel like No Man's Sky, just improved on its own. But yeah.
Well, I just feel bad for people who bought it, like who pre-ordered it and all that, because apparently the price in America has already dropped to like $50 or something.
Shit.
Yeah, or like
Not
cheaper.
to mention
I can't remember.
the scandal with the bag.
With the
Have you guys
canvas
seen
bag,
Yes, I've heard about
Did
that.
you hear? Did you hear? They're finally actually making canvas bags. Oh, they magically
Well-
acquired the money for it.
Hold on a second, back a second, because some people listening might not know. So basically, what happened is, with one of the pre-order editions, it said that it came with a canvas carrying bag for a helmet that came with the edition, and then
The
when people
Power
actually
Armor
got it, it
helmet.
was like it was a really crappy bag that was.
It was
not
a
made of
nylon
canvas.
bag that was just
Exactly, yeah.
absolutely
It basically
like,
looked
useless.
like it looked like a trash bag, and people were pissed because they paid full price and they were, which is actually probably illegal in some places.
Yeah.
And yeah, basically they sent out emails to people saying, "Too bad."
Yeah, but the exact wording was
Too
actually,
bad.
"Oh, this is not a mistake. The original was a promotional item. It turns out to make this would be too expensive. We are not planning to do anything about this." That was literally like almost word for word one of the emails I saw. And then even when they realized it fucked up, they were like, "Oh, here's literally $5 in in-game store credits,
Yeah.
which are completely useless."
Yeah. Not really good in a sense.
Guys, what's called? I'll be back. I can.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the next topic. I Our next topic is about Disney live action films. So as of recent, we've seen a huge resurgence of Disney films back back then, coming back coming back to us, but in live action. And many people have been thinking Disney has sold out. What do you guys think about this? The distribution of Disney making live action films. Oh,
I mean, yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. What else are they going to be making? To make their own unique IP, shit, it's not that simple because most of their stories and movies have been taken from some kind of folklore, at least the original ones.
Mhm.
Like, it's not as simple as just magically creating another one. They'd actually probably have to take a while to make something as iconic as most of the other movies they've made.
Yeah.
So even though I do think they're definitely a cash grab, I think it's probably so that they could work on other projects or something.
Mhm. What about you?
I
What about
agree
you,
with
Lenny?
you, but at the same time, I think, I mean, I can't quantify this, but I kind of feel like they're not really taking chances anymore because they're such a big company now that they've locked in their franchises and
Yeah.
they're just going,
Yeah.
we're gonna stick with these. We're gonna make sequels, reboots, prequels, whatever,
Yeah.
and we're just gonna stick with all
Yeah.
these franchises we've already got, and of
Yeah.
course they're rebooting everything live action now.
Yeah. Take a look
But
at
I
Disney
think that
Pixar.
they're not.
Yeah. Sorry. Like.
Yeah, they're not taking chances to go. Okay, well, let's think of new ideas or let's get some new uh, talent in to help create something new and different and stuff like that. They're just sort of
Yeah,
all
they're
about the
kind of
money
feeding
now.
off of nostalgia, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, especially, did you
Yeah,
guys see
that
they're
too.
making another Toy Story movie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though 3 basically had the whole thing wrapped up with a neat little bow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I
it was
don't think it
good
needed
idea.
it.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah, and I'm worried. What worries me the most is that even though Disney usually release a fairly good product, like, I don't want them to like mess with something because I mean I feel bad for a lot of kids these days. Like
Yeah.
if you think about it, how many like unique films and that and animations, cartoons, all that stuff came out when we were kids, and like nowadays, everything just seems kind of rehashed and redone.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, even if you like look at Disney movies nowadays, like I was actually they released a few new ones in the couple of years that were pretty different. Like I think it was Moana was one of the big ones,
Yeah. Moana.
and that was
Moana
yeah, I
was.
hadn't heard of those ones being done before, so that was interesting to see.
Yeah. Like I agree with you really. I really do cuz like well, one in a sense like they are milking it. They're pretty much just milking the hell out of the franchises. Like it's a good thing to reintroduce the new generation to, oh guys, this is, Lion King and all that shit. But in a sense, I feel like at the same time they're not taking any chances. They're actually just playing it safe. Like if you think about it, next year we're going to get I think two live action remakes, and I think another one, which is a sequel, which is we're getting a Mary Poppins sequel. Hold up, I think it was
Yeah.
we're getting a Mary Poppins sequel. We're getting
I think
a
they also did another one called like Mowgli something. I think it was like a Netflix exclusive or something. I can't remember.
yeah, it was
No, I think that's coming out in cinemas soon.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
It's
we're
like a
yeah
sequel to the Jungle Book or something.
we're getting a Mary Poppins sequel, which is coming out around December of this year. We're getting two live action next year, which is The Lion King, and we're also getting Aladdin. I don't mind that, and we're also getting um Toy Story 4, which is really irrelevant. I feel like
Well, is that Disney though? That's like
Pixar, but to think about it,
that's right.
Pixar's
They're owned by
Yeah.
Disney now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
but to think about it, I feel like I feel like the IP of Mary Poppins and of course Toy Story, I feel like it's unnecessary. Like the remakes, I'm not like I'm fine with it, but just if they milk too much about it, I feel like it's gonna be atrocious. But some IPs like Mary Poppins Returns or Toy Story, I feel like no. Toy Story was already finished in 2010 when Toy Story 3. Mary Poppins
Yeah.
was meant to be one off. I feel like what Disney's trying to do, is like they're trying to get, dormant IPs, and they're trying to, reignite it back to the public. Like, oh, here guys, this is Mary Poppins, this is that, this is this, all that stuff.
But yeah, well, when you say dorm, the truth is just that they're just reusing stuff to play on, like to tug on people's heartstrings and say, oh, don't you remember this? Oh, how cool was this? Check this out.
Yeah. Like
it really does feel like a bit of a cop out. I really wish they'd actually start doing some more unique stories and stuff.
a good example of that, like
Basically, like
playing.
how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, like
Yeah, pretty much.
a good example of this was I think Ready Player One. Cause I kid you not, when we watched it, I first of all I thought it was good, but then midway through it, I'm like, okay, this is obviously a cash grab. There's no, the plot is basic, and the reason why there's only hype is because the amount of IPs Steven Spielberg managed to grab from that, like grab to put in it. They got Overwatch, they got Halo, they've got Ruby, which is very surprising because you could barely get a glimpse of it. You've
Oh,
also
I'm not so sure if they had Overwatch. I mean, I think they only showed Tracer about what 50 times throughout the entire film.
yeah. Yeah, they've also showed like what they've also got Gundam, they've got Akira, they've got Back to the Future, which makes sense because it's Steven
Yeah.
Spielberg's thing. They've got Bakarai Banza, whatever his name was. I think I've seen it once. They've got fuck tons. They even got Doom. They got Duke Nukem, and they even got Jason for fuck's sake, Jason. And I'll be honest with you here. Like a film like that plays with nostalgia. If it's gonna make fun of nostalgia, I'm gonna I'm gonna give props to it. But then a film that just says, "Hey guys, here's a film you've never heard of, but we're just fuck tons of IP," and people are flocking to it not because of the story, but because of the nostalgia factor and all the IPs present. I feel like it's gonna it's not gonna be good. Moving on to the next topic. The next topic is online microtransactions. Now,
Oh,
this has been a big issue in both legal sense and of course the gaming community. Uh, what are your thoughts about microtransactions in games nowadays?
it's borderline fucking gambling. They know it, and
It's not
it's
borderline at
bullshit.
all. It's just gambling.
Well, no, how do I say it? I'm like the loot boxes are literally just gambling, but like the other shit is mostly like borderline gambling.
Yep.
Because it's convincing kids that how do I say it, that the money is not actually something of value. You know what I mean? It's just trying to get them to siphon their fucking cash into the fucking
Yeah.
game. It's just
Mhm.
bullshit. Like that's why I especially like really don't like games like Fortnite. And the thing that pisses me off is they get away with it by saying, "Oh, it's a free to play game," all this other shit. It's like, I'm sorry, but no. Just because it's free to play doesn't make it any better. Because if you look at it, the amount of money these people are pumping in compared to what they would have paid for like a full price game
Yeah.
is like 10 times what you'd probably normally end up paying.
Yeah.
Like I know my brother the other day, like he made some bet with my sister or whatever, and my sister was like, "Oh, I'll give you $100 if you do this or some shit." And he did it or whatever, and my sister gave him the $100. He immediately goes to fucking put all $100 in fucking V-Bucks. Like, what the fuck? It's so bad. I just can't understand it.
Gambling.
Oh.
What about you, Lenny? What are your thoughts on online microtransactions?
I mean, I'm not really much of an online sort of gaming guy, but when when you get into a game and it's just like people have got, you know, legendary skins that they paid for, or stuff like that. I imagine for people who actually grind it out and spend like a lot of time actually playing the game and leveling up and getting in-game currency to actually purchase like items like that, and then they get in a lobby and someone's got the same item that they're like level 2 or whatever.
Mhm.
It would just be
Yeah, and they,
infuriating
just
knowing
took
that-
mummy's credit card or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just,
Uh.
like, probably yeah, like some young kid who's irresponsibly taken their parents' credit card and spent hundreds of dollars on this game. They're probably going to play like.
Oh, but it's not even just hundreds of dollars anymore.
week.
Like I don't remember if I told you guys about my brother what he did, but like literally, because my mum had her credit card hooked up to his Xbox Live membership, the card was on the account or whatever on his Xbox.
Uh-oh.
And so for ages, mum was unaware that he was just buying all this shit because it was going to her other email, not her main one.
Oh dear.
So we looked back, and the main reason that mum caught him out was that he had spent over $500 or something in one night.
Jesus.
I think it was between $500 and $700 in one fucking night, buying Watch Dogs 2 DLCs and some other shit. And it was crazy because we went back through the history of it to see how much shit he had bought. And throughout the month or whatever, or either this month and the month before, we actually couldn't see past a certain amount of dates, but he had spent over like 2 or 3 grand.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
fucked.
So yeah, and he, luckily, what's it called? Xbox was really like, how do I say it? Good, and was just like, oh, okay, that's fine. We'll refund all the purchases and all that. And gave mum back all the money. But like, still, there's a lot of parents who they aren't having that kind of scenario because their kids have either done it multiple times before, or how do I say it? They just haven't noticed it yet. And I just think that it's becoming really dangerous because people are not understanding how much, say, $1 or whatever is worth now. Because since, like, and it kind of also goes back to the fact that our money's worth, like, kind of jack shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's harder because now everything costs more. So what you could buy with $100, say, even 5 years ago, 7 something years ago, it used to be able to buy so much more shit, and now it's just gone down the drain. To get a standard AAA game here in Australia, it'd cost you on average between $80 and $100 when it's first released. You guys could agree with that, right?
Yeah.
And then you look at places like America, where the standard price for a AAA game, even though when you convert it, it probably ends up being pretty close, it's only like $50. So, because of the difference in actual value, I think a lot of kids aren't understanding that, they're spending this much money. I don't know if I'm explaining this properly.
Could you repeat that?
Not to mention, like,
Sorry, Lenny, but like, Jai, could you repeat that last few sentences? Because like, you seem to have cut off for me.
Yeah.
Like,
All right, well, yeah, what I was saying was that because of the way that our money is valued differently and how so many games and like companies use US cash, things seem so much.
Jai, you still there?
yeah, hello.
Jai.
He cut off for me this time too.
Yeah, like he cut off twice for me. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to edit this.
He didn't cut off last time for me.
Really? He cut off twice for me though, which is I found weird.
He did this. Yeah, I can't hear him at all.
Same.
He's still in the chat, but
Yeah. Oh dear. Do you want to repeat this segment again, or?
no, we're almost done with the segment.
Cause like, holy shit, dude. Like, how like when he made like the only time I caught the first part, yeah. The only part I got from him with the first part was he explaining his brother like how much money he spent. And then like it cut off as soon as he said, "Oh, do you know why things are so expensive now?" And like, oh shit. Jai. Shit.
Yeah, I think his microphone just fucked.
Jesus.
It'd be pretty funny if we hit. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, Jai, could you repeat that again? Like, like the transaction thing, because the only thing I got from that was basically it was up until you mentioned Xbox refunded all the money.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
All good.
Yeah, I get it. Give me a second. All right. So basically, when Xbox refunded all the money, I was saying that a lot of parents, though, when they're stuck in that kind of position, aren't as lucky as we were. We managed to get all our cash back, but I know a lot of people that have been stuck with just absolute massive amounts of like bills because their kids have just spent shit tons. And it's not even just with like console gaming. Like the main thing that I saw it happening for was mobile gaming.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, where they have once again the same free to play sort of bullshit mechanics that entice people to spend more money so that they can do shit quicker and all that, because people hate having to wait. And I can't stand it, because most games that have these loot box systems, they try to pass it off as like, oh, what do you mean? You can still earn this through playing in-game and earning in-game currency, when really it's not at all the case. Like, I can't remember if you guys saw the Battlefront 1 and I think Battlefront 2 times for actually earning the in-game cash compared to paying for it. Did you guys see that?
No, I haven't seen that. Could you explain?
Yeah. Well, someone calculated the amount that it would actually cost for you the amount of time you'd have to pump in to earn like one hero character in Battlefront 1 or 2. I can't remember which one it was.
Oh, you're talking about at the release. Yeah, no, that's completely different.
But even though it's different now, I'm using it as an example for what most companies are doing because people are still doing it. Like,
and the only reason they actually stopped doing it is because of all the backlash they got.
Yes.
Yes,
They would
exactly.
Of course.
stop that
Yes.
right now for the backlash.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, you know.
And not only that, like what you were saying before and about in-game currency and stuff, they sort of novelize real world money that has real world value to
Yeah,
kids.
no, they
and
do,
like,
of course.
Kids like think of it like, oh, it's V-Bucks. It's just
exactly.
it's like I can only use it in Fortnite. I can only use it to buy these things. Or
Well, let's be honest here, yeah. Like,
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest here. When it comes to microtransactions like Fortnite and all the free games, I feel like free to play games. I feel like it makes sense because one, the company who made the free game needs a source of income. Correct. Yeah. But then like if it's gonna be applied to paid games like let's say Battlefield or Battlefront or whatever, yeah. I feel like that's going past the line. Like unless it's like a leveling up system or at least like a way you have to grind and you get like a crate, like something similar to Overwatch and Call of Duty, yeah. Unless you like have to unless you keep leveling up, and you keep getting rewards, that's fine, yeah. Because the whole and as long as it doesn't impact the game, yeah, that's fine. But if it fully impacts the game, and if it fully if it fully interferes with the whole gameplay aspect of it, then yes, that's a huge problem in a sense.
Yeah, see, Calvin, I used to agree with that sentiment until I realized most of the free-to-play games in the markets, they're not actually just trying to earn money because they're releasing a free fun product. They're targeting really, really fucking vulnerable groups and audiences.
Yes.
Like prioritizing things like children and people with like gambling addictions. Like so many games use the same sort of like slot machine type tactics with the lights and the sounds to give them that sense of reward, so that quite literally they're essentially just fucking, like I said, playing at the slot ranch or whatever you want to fucking call it.
Yeah.
Because that's the same kind of response it elicits. And so I like I said, if they weren't relying on such really dirty tactics, because it's not even like at that point fair. Like I don't know if you guys even saw the South Park episode that they did on free to play games, where they basically explained that it's targeting vulnerable people using the same type of like mechanics in that you'd find in like gambling, and capitalizing on it. And even though they barely release in most cases a very good product or even a functional product.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, what about you, Lenny? What's your principal take on this?
Go back to what you said about like in paid games, guys. I completely agree with that. The one good argument I've seen, sort of for like microtransactions in say online games and stuff like that, is that some people have like busy jobs, busy lives, and they do want to be able to like get to a point in the game where it's like they have a good character with good weapons and stuff like that, and they can play competently against people who like are younger and they have all day to play games and stuff like that. But the like as much as that's like sure, that's fine, but like you can't moderate.
Except for the fact that so what you're trying to do is that okay, that's fine. Except if you want to do that, you have to pay us money. What? So basically, strong arming people if they want to actually enjoy the game.
Yeah, and it's also like you can't moderate that sort of thing, because so then people can just go, oh, I just want to cheat the system and kill everyone.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it ruins the progression system as well in a lot of games. Like I think it was Battlefield 1 I was playing, and it was just like it takes ages to level up and get XP and get unlock guns, and even the loot crates for the skins and stuff like that. It's just it all takes like so much time in game, and there's like specific things you have to do that are really hard and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I can vouch for Lenny on that regard, because don't you remember, Lenny? We actually compared my character, who I have the premium passes and all that shit, because I'm a pretty big fan of Battlefield. I always have been. And we compared how quick it was for me to level up compared to how quick it was for Lenny. And I was sometimes leveling up like 1 or 2, 3 times
XP.
higher. Yeah, because there was not only was there double XP, but like I don't know what it was, but I was at way higher levels than you. So I would have expected that I would have had to be taking way longer time. Yeah, exactly. That it would be slowing down, but no, I just kept leveling up, and it's not even like a thing of skill in a lot of times, because like there were games that we were playing where I was getting absolutely mulched, you know, I was getting shit on, and I was still getting a decent amount of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another good point you raise, actually. It's not about skill anymore in online games.
Yeah.
We're kind of going off topic from microtransactions, but it's not about skill anymore. It's sort of all about just time spent in the game. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about Battlefront 2 earlier, and I was playing some of that the other day. And what I noticed was, not just the other day, but what I noticed a while ago in that game is it doesn't reward you credits, which is what you use to buy heroes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You don't earn them per kill or per objective captured or whatever. You earn
Yeah.
it based on, if you, to some degree they've fixed that, and that does sort of go on, you know, skill to some degree if it does, but mostly it's you earn it through the amount of time you play. So if you play a longer match, you'll get a lot of credits even if you did pretty poorly. So I mean, you know, on one hand it's like, or it sort of caters to people who aren't as good as the game, and they just sort of they still want to level up, you know, they don't want to, it's not necessarily a handicap for them, but it's like something that they can sort of go, well, I'm not going to drop this game because it's boring and I never level up and I never get any satisfaction from the progression system. But it's also kind of a problem for people who do want to play the game seriously and sort of actually have proper leveling systems and go against people that have actually put in effort to get, like, you know, where they are in the game.
Oh yeah, pretty much. Like one of the biggest culprits, I think, and a lot of people tend to overlook it, is GTA 5 online. That is the most bullshit system I have ever seen, and it literally, the only way that you can actually effectively earn cash. I don't care how many times people say, "Oh, there's missions where you can get a fair bit," or "Oh, do heists." I'm sorry, no, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
If you can just literally, I think it was like the Megalodon card or some shit.
Yeah, it was the
like
Megalodon card, yeah.
100 million fucking cash for $100 or some shit. Like, what the actual fuck? I worked my way up from level 0 to like level 150 something. And then, like, I remember, I don't know if you guys would have been playing what happened, but you guys remember where it would have been back on Xbox 360 and PS3 days, where they had the money wipe because of all the hackers in console. And I had millions of dollars in legit cash saved up, and they fucking took it all from me, and I had to start over again.
Woof.
I was so pissed, especially because one of my friends, who at the time actually did cheat, and he cheated hundreds of millions of dollars, and for some fucking stupid reason, Rockstar thought that he paid for them with shark cards for all his cash. He didn't spend a dime. Like, they just were essentially... And at the end of the day, I don't even think it's mostly Rockstar. I think it's Take-Two and fucking all the other bullshit assholes behind that.
Yeah, well, Take-Two's been doing it for a while,
yeah. Oh, well, yeah, look at their other games, like NBA and
yes,
all this
fucking,
shit.
I can't agree with you more with the NBA, because, like, how do I say this?
It's ridiculous,
like,
man.
I've been playing NBA, the 2K series, since about, like, 2012, yeah? And, like, as of now, like, as of recent, I had, like, the only last NBA game I ever played was 2K17. Because, I kid you not, 2K18, when it came out, I'm like, shit, I have to keep balling my ass, getting fucking money to get VCs to level up my character. I'm like, fuck that, though. Like, I don't feel like that's right. In a sense, like, sure,
it's not.
Like, sure, it awards you VCs for, like, if you perform well in a game, but I feel like that VCs isn't enough, because, like, because that could be applied to play a skill. It can affect it. Because it's not cosmetic.
Bullshit, man.
It's not cosmetics only. It's also the skill, and I don't like that.
And did you guys see that Take-Two, like, I think it was in Germany and in some other countries, they were actually banning, like, the loot box methods and all this other bullshit, and Take-Two, like, released a statement, and it blew up on Reddit. It would have been months ago. You would have seen it, Lenny, where they were, like, begging their fans to, like, sign this shit to make it so that literally their bullshit gambling and all this other crap, microtransactions, can be allowed. And I remember fans and fucking Redditors and all this other shit roast the shit out of them, because it's just so ridiculous. Like,
it is.
You pay $100 or something for the game, and then to actually play the game, you got to pump another $100 or $200 into it, and it keeps sucking the bloody, like, money out of you, because especially stuff like, I can't stand FIFA and all that shit. The way that the game works, it's so ridiculous and unfair.
It's mostly because of VA.
Oh well, like you can't even say that it's like how do I say it that it's a skill-based game anymore
It's
because
not.
if you have someone who has like bronze fucking players and all that shit, and they're going up against some fucking 5-year-old who's just pumped $500 and bought
Mhm.
I don't know 30 Cristiano Ronaldos or how the game works. I can't remember it. I haven't played it in ages,
Yeah.
and just chucked them all on one team. It's just ridiculous. It's not fair.
Mhm. I agree. Well, moving on to the next topic because we seem to be about running out of time in a sense.
Mm.
Uh, Diablo Mobile. Now,
Oh.
yes, Diablo Mobile or Mobile, the way you want to pronounce it, yeah.
Mm.
Uh, that has been a huge controversy within the Blizzard community because a lot of
Mm.
Diablo fans have been dissatisfied, and I kind of say I agree with it. It makes complete sense.
Mm.
Like it. First of all, they've been waiting for a few more years since 2011 for another Diablo game. What they get,
Mm.
and a mobile game. Now, what do you guys take on
But
this? What do you guys take on this?
instantly to jump into it, the main thing, and it's kind of like what Lenny was talking about, discussing with me, where even though these people shouldn't, expect that they should just get this game or whatever,
Mhm.
the only reason why this game's actually been released is because of the Chinese mobile game market, because of the microtransactions.
Yes.
That's all it's for.
Mhm.
It's so they can earn a shit ton of money because the Chinese mobile market's basically the biggest market in regards to mobile gaming and all that other stuff, and it earns shit tons.
Yep.
And you notice this especially with the other games that Blizzard's made, like Hearthstone and all that crap, where you've got people spending once again hundreds and hundreds of dollars on this shit.
Mhm.
And it just makes I cannot understand why Blizzard thought that this was going to be okay. They dick these fans over for ages, it's like hinting at shit and saying, "Oh, we're coming out with a new Diablo game." People have been waiting fucking what? Is it 6 years or 7 years? I can't remember.
7 years.
Yeah, 7 years. That's it. And like now that they come out with this shit, and it's not even about the fans at this stage. It's just because they want more cash.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. What about you, Lenny? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, as I was saying before, Jai, not exactly in defense of the game. I think it's kind of a dick move to do something like this because, I mean, back to sort of Fallout 76, like the way they teased it at first, it was sort of like, as I was saying before, like I expected it to be like just a normal Fallout game, but with multiplayer. So it's like, it is a dick move to do something like this and to sort of subvert expectations in a bad way to our fans and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But at the same time, what you sort of touched on, I was saying that, I mean, yes, you sort of, as a fan, you shouldn't have rights exactly, but you should really, I don't know how to say it. You should
You
like
shouldn't
your
have
opinion
such
shared,
a high level of entitlement that you have to
But
get
yeah,
this given to
exactly.
you.
You shouldn't be entitled to a game just because you like it. It's sort of like if I went, I expect a new Arkham game, Rocksteady, work on it now, please.
Mhm.
It's like you can't just these are big companies, and I think some people forget how big they, especially with Blizzard. These are very big companies that have a lot of projects they're working on like all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's sort of like sometimes you can tell that they're really trying to make fans happy, like with CD Projekt Red do that very often.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
of
like
course.
sometimes they are very money hungry and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't really blame the developers as much. It's usually the higher ups that just get really greedy and they just sort of they don't. It's always the people that don't
Yeah.
seem to understand the industry and sort of actually how it works. And like
Pretty
they say,
much.
Yeah.
we'll push a battle royale feature
Yeah.
because kids love battle royale, even though they don't
Mhm.
understand. Yeah, but
Mhm.
this is like I
Yeah.
don't know. Say for example, if Red Dead got a battle royale.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
oh
It's a
Christ.
bad idea. Yep. And
I
Like,
just yeah.
but I almost guarantee you, some executives are pushing for a battle royale in Red Dead Online. They're probably saying,
Oh, they will
They will.
be.
They will.
It's,
They will.
it's,
They
you
will.
know,
Yeah.
all the kids love battle royale. Let's have a cowboy battle royale. But the developers would get
A
that info
cowboy
and they'd
battle
be like,
royale. I wouldn't mind
"Well, I
that.
just don't know what to do here, and then they'd be forced to because the executives are
Mhm.
going, well, if you don't do it,
Yeah. Well, yeah. Moving on to the
Yeah.
next and final topic, I would like to talk about the Japanese game market. Now, as of the last 2 years, here with the last, in the console generation also, as well as
Mm.
the PC game, like the whole game community. We've been experiencing few games from Japan that have been popping up. From the Yakuza series to the Dragon Ball fighting games to
Mm.
Nia to all that crap. And I feel
To
like,
Nekopara.
yeah, no, no, let's not talk about that. Yeah. But like, yeah, but like in a sense, I feel like I feel like Japanese games, in my opinion, is more of its own like niche market. Like it's like an it's like you got AAA games, you've got indie games, and you got the Japanese games. In the West, I feel like it's more of a niche market compared to Japan. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, see, I
Yeah,
actually
I,
don't
I
think it's a
agree.
very niche market. Because how do I say it? What you guys tend to forget is that like, it's not like JRPGs and all this stuff have
Yeah,
been only just recently popping up. They've
yeah, I
been
know.
pretty massively followed for years. Like,
Hmm.
and if you look at some of the newer releases that have come out, like
Hmm.
especially with the Yakuza games, now that they've become more widespread and well known,
Yeah.
which at this stage is basically the only thing keeping Sega afloat, for Christ's sake. And I
Yes.
mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big fan of the series, so I don't mind.
Yeah.
But like, Jesus Christ, if you guys have looked at Persona 5 and all these other ones they've
Yes.
released,
Yeah, I
they
agree with you in that one though.
absolutely, they have done really, really well in Western audiences.
Yeah.
And but the funny thing is with the Japanese games market is that they tend to actually screw over Western audiences a lot.
They
Like if
do.
you guys look at and it's actually something to do with the Yakuza games, where they had the exclusive ones that they released in Japan, where they were like, I think they were around the Warring States period.
Yeah,
One
the
of them was,
Ishin,
and there was
the
another one.
Ryoga Goto Ishin
Yeah,
series.
Ryugaga Kato
There's about
Ishin, and then there was
there's two
came
of them,
out.
wasn't it? Yeah. There's also the
and
zombie
and
one
the
as well.
only no, that was actually exclusive to the West.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can't get that one in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's actually probably considered one of the worst Yakuza games, the Zombies one. Despite it actually not being that bad a game, it's just, how do I say it?
It's not
It's not
appealing.
really that good a Yakuza game
Yeah.
because it's quite strange in the way that the combat works and all that.
Yeah.
But like the actual Ishin ones did so well, and fans have actually tried to start like translating them and all that, and so that they could play them, and they've absolutely loved it. Like I think there was some fan mods and all that so that you could actually play it here in English,
Yeah.
and it's just it's been an amazing game. And the only reason why they didn't release it because they for whatever reason the higher ups were like, oh no, Western audiences don't care about Japanese history. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Have you seen how many weeaboos are like?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
People would eat that shit up in seconds.
Yeah. Like, how do I say this? I feel like I agree with you, but the reason why, like some Japanese games that are released in the West tend to like, alienate Western audiences because cultural differences. Like obviously,
Yeah,
yeah,
that is a
well,
big thing.
yeah, that is a big thing. It's sometimes, at times it could be too sexualized. Now, this is heavy in some, anime games that's always been coming up in the West. But I
Yeah.
I could see it a lot though. Like those are the two reasons as to why. Like I feel like it's been popping up. Like Japanese games are popping up now compared to before because one,
Well, I think that's because people are less sensitive.
yeah, they are. Like
Yeah.
they don't care much, but I feel like
I don't know about that.
it still alienates the Western audience, because the over sexualization
Yeah,
of
exactly.
characters and as well as the cultural differences, which completely makes sense.
But that's the thing. When they're talking about over sexualization of characters and all that shit, like it's never made sense to me because the fact that people care more about that,
Yeah.
yet they're willing to let 5-year-olds play Call of Duty and all this other shit,
Yes.
and all
Yeah.
these other games where they're like violently beheading people and crap.
Yeah.
Like, not even joking.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Yet, okay, you show one pair of tits and bam, instantly banned, restricted.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, even most of the games that are banned in Australia, because there's a decent sized ban.
Yes, like what
you
call
look
it?
at them,
Yeah.
and then most of them are like, how do I say it? It's either, for whatever reason, some extreme level of violence, and even then, it's like not even that bad. But the Australian officials are just like, oh, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
But then the other ones you notice are a lot of games that are like from Japan or whatever. That there's one in particular. Not going to bring up the name of it. Sure, viewers would have known it if they're Australian or whatever, or if they just know about a lot of banned games.
Mhm.
And the concept's fucking disgusting.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm not bringing it up. But
Yeah.
like, it's just so weird when you consider that most of the games that we consider not okay compared to okay can go from either someone shows a little bit of revealing clothing, to literally a bunch of people being gunned down in games like what was it called? The one, I think it was made by some Swedish developer. Like, I don't know if it's called like Rampage or some shit, but you know, you literally are just like a mass murderer.
Yeah.
It's not even a good game though.
Oh, I think it's Hatred. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Hatred. Yeah. It's just sadism, really, pretty much. The whole game's just sadism, like condoning, like condoning or like, kill this.
I think it's just that the story apparently.
Yeah, I think it's kind of in a way it was sort of intended to be like that, to sort of test, different countries.
Oh, I think it was just edgy for the sake of being edgy. It was kind of a shit game.
Yeah. Well, Lenny, what are your thoughts?
True, but I feel like.
Sorry. Yeah, keep going.
With that game in particular, it's sort of the whole concept of just this guy who loses it, just goes around killing everyone. It's just kind of like, I don't know. It's not supposed to be taken seriously, but
it's more of a B movie game.
Oh well, look at stuff like Postal.
Or a good example would be what's it called, Wolfenstein 2. Like it's in a sense it's.
Oh, that was.
Yeah. Yeah, Lenny. What are your thoughts on the the Japanese game market going in the West? Like, what are your thoughts of it?
Well, I don't really know much about Japanese games, but I can say that it feels like we're getting a lot more now. And like, I'm not saying there wasn't any like in the West before, but like there was like kind of a gap. Like around the PS2 era, I feel like there were a lot more Japanese games. Like,
yeah.
Like in 360 and PS3 generation, I can only really think of stuff like Dark Souls, stuff like that,
Yeah.
But like PS2, you got like Silent Hill, you got all that sort of stuff like that.
Yeah, Resident Evil, all that stuff.
Yeah, the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, especially in America, you see like people love Japanese culture, especially in America.
Yeah, they eat the fuck out of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
They really do.
They obsess over that shit.
It is kind of not a double standard, but like a double thing where in Japan, I feel like it's not really, they don't embrace Western games as much as the West embraces Japanese games.
Oh, no, you're right.
Like,
especially, have you seen the Xbox is like not even used at all in Japan?
Yes, like the introduction of the Xbox, I think, the original Xbox, I feel like no one bought it, obviously. Like, it had low sales, and the Xbox 360, when that came out, still, again, weak as fuck. And then this current console generation, right? I feel like this current console generation, I feel like most Japanese like this is a perspective from an actual person living outside of Japan. From what I see it, I feel like they mostly pay attention to PC, mostly PC because the amount of games coming in, and PS4. That's what I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong.
As Lenny was saying. Sorry, Lenny, keep going.
Yes, as I was saying, so like in Japan, they don't embrace Western games as much as the West embraces Japanese games. And even though it seems like, there's a massive influx of Japanese games coming now to, Western audiences, it just, I mean, stuff like even Red Dead, which is wildly popular in, America, Australia, Britain, most of Europe, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
It just probably would be almost unplayed in Japan, I'd assume, because it's sort of something that doesn't.
I beg to differ, though.
Click with their audiences,
Yeah, I beg to differ, though, in a sense, because, how to say this, like Grand Theft Auto 5, like that's a Western game, yes. I felt like that like a lot of Japanese people played that. Like this from my view. Like I've seen a lot of people like Japanese Let's Players play it, but Red Dead, I feel like but I feel like Red
Japanese American though.
No, as in like an actual Japanese people like playing it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, but GTA 5 I think appealed to a lot of a wider audience because how do I say it?
Yeah.
There's still a pretty large aspect of games that like the Japanese like audience do find fun. Like I know there's a pretty decent amount of Japanese people that play games like sort of stuff like Rust and all that other ones, like online games where you can just mess with people, which that's pretty much what GTA Online was for ages.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, hey, guess what? Smegma. I'll be back in a second.
All right, so to conclude the podcast, guys, I think we've all talked a fair bit about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, we can all agree on one thing. Subscribe to PewDiePie, TC's gay.
And yeah, while you're at it, just if you guys want some more, just subscribe to the Looking Class podcast if you want some more podcasts. I'm your host Pepsi Main. Along with me is Jai
Skeletor.
and Lenny.
Me.
Yeah, and we'll see you guys next time.
See you all later.
Bye.